What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video right here on Chris's MMA Universe. I'm just going to jump right into it. Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns for UFC 251, July 11th. Now, this fight is actually something to see because both men, in my opinion, are kind of equally matched. Now, what I mean by that is I'm not saying that they're the same exact fighter by any means, but they're not afraid to bang with each other on the stand-up. They're not afraid to strike, and they're not afraid to go to the ground. This is very interesting because, to me, I'm looking at this as a wrestler versus grappler match, where Gilbert Burns, for sure, is the grappler. I mean, he's a master at jiu-jitsu on the ground, not afraid to slip into submission, and will be able to slip into submission on Kamaru Usman if Kamaru Usman decides to go to the ground with Gilbert Burns. Now, I'm not saying that he will be able to get Kamaru Usman. I'm just saying if Gilbert Burns does slip into submission out of nowhere, Gilbert Burns will hold on to that submission until he gets it. So Gilbert Burns will not be afraid of the takedown threat by Kamaru Usman. He's not by any means afraid to go to the ground. Kamaru Usman, however, has a very strong top game. I know he ended up kind of going to the ground with, other jiu-jitsu practitioners in the past, as far as Damian Maia. But still, Gilbert Burns is fresher than Damian Maia. Damian Maia kind of lost it, years ago. Now, I'm just saying, let's not rain on Damian Maia's parade. This isn't about him. But Gilbert Burns, against Kamaru Usman, I mean, like I said, they're not afraid to strike. Kamaru Usman then dropped many people, knocked out, people on the stand-up game, being a strong wrestler. Gilbert Burns did the same thing. Gilbert Burns not afraid and definitely has knockout power. But if both men were to go to the ground, I'm going to have to say Gilbert Burns might have him on the ground. Now, yes, Kamaru Usman has a very strong top control. He has a very strong wrestling game, very athletic. But Gilbert Burns is just very slick on the ground. So that's what I mean. Grappler versus wrestler, I think a grappler kind of has the wrestler, on that, because if you're comfortable on the ground and you're a submission practitioner, right? I mean, especially a master like Gilbert Burns, you're very comfortable with wrestling and then adding in jiu-jitsu. So being a grappler on the ground, I believe, is a little stronger than being just a wrestler on the ground, But Kamaru Usman is no slouch. It's not like he's just gonna get taken by Gilbert Burns if this fight goes to the ground. Maybe it won't go to the ground. I mean, we saw when Colby Covington fought Kamaru Usman, when Kamaru Usman was in there with Colby Covington, it was just a slugfest, and both men were like world class wrestlers. So it kind of just canceled each other out, right? Like the takedown wasn't even there. They didn't even go to the ground once. It was just a slugfest from start to finish. Kamaru Usman got him. I'm sure a lot of you guys are happy that Colby Covington ended up getting that L, but you know what? It was a great fight, regardless of however you feel about their personalities. Let's just take that out of it. Let's take out the whole shows that they put on, or whatever. Just put all that aside. Just them being in there as fighters was very, very special to see, I believe. And I'm sure a lot of you guys could agree with that as well. I mean, it was a very, very great fight. But Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns, I believe is going to be. I mean, I believe it's going to be a war because, like I said, both men not afraid to stand, both men not afraid to go to the ground. So it's going to be grappler versus wrestler. Okay, but them being on the stand up, it's just going to be fighter versus fighter. So I really don't know exactly what's going to happen because if we, look at Kamaru Usman's last fight, great wrestler, kept it standing. Maybe because he knows Colby Covington was also a great wrestler as well. Not saying he was afraid to go to the ground with Colby Covington by any means. I'm just saying that, since both men were wrestlers, why try to be in a wrestling match when you know that you have pretty good striking? And both men had great striking in that fight. So just, Kamaru Usman got the W. He ended up getting the best of Colby Covington. Now, with Kamaru Usman going against Gilbert Burns he looks very hungry. Gilbert Burns going up against Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is definitely going to have to bring his A game for sure. Now, Gilbert Burns looks very hungry. And I kind of see him going in there being able to take it from Kamaru Usman. Now, I believe Gilbert Burns is faster than Kamaru Usman. I just think he has speed on Kamaru. Both men are very athletic, but I just see kind of Gilbert Burns being just a little fresher. Like, I don't know. He just seems very, very quick on the stand up and on the ground. Like, so I believe that Gilbert Burns has the speed and definitely has strength. But, Kamaru Usman, can't count him out. He is the welterweight champion for a reason. And I just believe that this is going to be something special to see. I mean, now I know a lot of people didn't really want to see the Gilbert Burns versus Kamaru Usman, where Gilbert Burns kind of like, to a lot of people, I guess he kind of like came out of nowhere. When really that wasn't the case. It's just I know a lot of people want to see Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal was in the mix to fight Kamaru Usman for the title. So I know, like, it would have been like a big sell if, like, let's say Jorge Masvidal put his BMF title on the line, where it was kind of like, a title versus title. I'm not gonna say champion versus champion because it's not really a champion. For a BMF is not a champion, So I would just say that it was kind of like a title versus another title. So champion versus BMF. I just felt like that just would have been like a selling point. Now, however, I'm not saying that's what would have happened, but let's take the BMF out of it. Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman would have been something. I mean, it sells itself. Who wouldn't have want to see that fight? That's just something that you could just, as an MMA fighter, just to be sink your teeth into that. Like Jorge Masvidal going against Kamaru Usman for the welterweight championship, as Jorge Masvidal is like a monster now. However, Jorge Masvidal overplayed his hand with the UFC, where he wanted to take a page out of John Jones' book to retire or be released because he wanted more money or whatever the case is. Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, Jorge Masvidal had everything in front of him, but just pretty much forfeited his chance to fight Kamaru Usman now. He overplayed his hand. Any fighter that goes up against the UFC rarely gets what they want, if at all. So, he's not, yes, his star power is a lot higher now, but you're not a Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? No matter what. And I bring Conor McGregor up because Conor McGregor has negotiated with the UFC and a lot of times got what he wanted. So for Jorge Masvidal to do that, Jorge Masvidal is getting up there in age. I'm not saying he's slowing down. It seems like he got better. But still, age creeps up on everyone. Everyone. And being in your 30s as a fighter, your mid 30s, that's getting up there in fighter age. So, but, Jorge Masvidal pretty much could have had it. He overplayed his hand. And Gilbert Burns going up against Kamaru Usman is not like, oh, we went for the second best. Gilbert Burns is the number one contender going up against the champion. That's how it's supposed to be. Gilbert Burns being the number one contender going against the champion is the way it has been. I know it hasn't been that way in a while, but that is the way it's supposed to be. So Gilbert Burns versus Kamaru Usman is going to be something great to watch. I think a lot of people are overlooking that fight. I certainly am not. I'm not saying you guys are, but I really think that this is going to be something a lot more entertaining than people think. So Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns, July 11th, UFC 251. I do believe Gilbert Burns has what it takes to take it to Kamaru Usman and take Kamaru Usman's title and be the champion himself. Not saying that's what Gilbert Burns will do. I'm not giving an official prediction whatsoever. I want you guys to let me know who you think is going to win and how. Make sure you guys are staying safe out there. And I really want you guys to leave your comments. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like. And I'll see all you guys in the next one.